When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
That is James Mennie. He is over at the Montreal Gazette. And Jim, I like the first headline here. Where's this coming from? Are we headed for a CAQ coronation, or as we call it, a coronation? What's going on here exactly?
Well, come on. I mean, we another day, another poll from Palace, which is being published in L'Actualité. Credit where credit's due. But it's our good friend Philippe Fournier, a poll aggregator, looking at a survey that was conducted about Bernard Drinville versus Christine Frechette for, I almost said the belt, but for the championship, for the leadership of the Coalition Avenir Québec. Bref, it's not looking good for Monsieur Drinville. It seems that only 24% of respondents have a favorable impression of him, compared with 55% who don't want to know from nothing. And it's complete opposite with Christine Frechette. Favorable impression, 51%, 24% negative impression. Interestingly, overall, with actual voters, never mind CAQ supporters, actual voters, 32% say they don't like Christine Frechette, as opposed to 26% who say they have a favorable impression. But that, of course, is what I like to refer to as the CAQ factor, which really will end up being, I think, the political legacy of the Coalition Avenir Québec, that within the space of 8 years, they managed to make everybody hate them. Yeah. Like really, really, really. Okay. It's not just like, I don't like those guys. It's like really gut feeling. But, here's the thing. You remember 2016, you and I talked about this on air. Are we going to see, if these numbers keep up, are we going to see another of those walking on eggshell Bernard Drinville press conferences? Remember when he was running for the head of the leadership of the PQ, and it was clear he was not going to win. And it was clear that that nice Mr. Pelodeau had this thing sewn up. And he looked like he was going to lose it. And he finally said, I can't win. Will we see that, or is he going to take it down to the wire? Because he's arguing. It's like, don't talk to me about cabinet support, which Madame Frechette obviously has. It's one person, one vote. That's what's going to make things up. But we're looking at these numbers, Aaron, and this is not an outlier. This is like the second time we've seen pretty bad numbers from Monsieur Drinville. Will he stick it out? Or are we going to find ourselves in a situation where, come the October general election, two of the leaders of the three, so-called mainstream parties will have gotten the job because nobody else wanted it. Will have gotten the job by acclamation, which is going to be really kind of surreal in and of itself. But this is where we are. And, to a certain extent, am I deriving a certain amount of satisfaction from the fact that all these legislative vultures are coming home to roost over what's left of the Coalition Avenir Québec? You're damn right I am. These people have a lot to answer for. I'm sure they'll answer for it at the polls. As I've been saying literally for years on the show now, I just hope the price we have to pay for their incompetence is going to be too expensive, and indeed that we can make up some of the damage that was done by 8 years of a CAQ government.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim. When we started talking about Drinville versus Christine Frechette at the outset, right? That first poll came out, showed she was ahead. Are you not the one who said, you know what? Don't count out Bernard Drinville just quite yet? Are you changed your mind?
Well, no, because first of all, one poll does, one swallow does not a summer make, Aaron, and one poll is not something. But when you're seeing it echoed again in the second poll, when you're seeing it, and his argument, I thought was quite germane. Don't talk to me. Don't run around and say, the cabinet minister. I had all this cabinet support. It's one person, one vote. It's the membership that will make that choice. But here, c'est pas trop promettant with the membership for Bernard Drinville. And I have to tell you, in terms of maybe that's a matter of the amount of coverage he's getting versus the amount of coverage Madame Frechette is getting. But that said, the numbers are not lining up for him. And remember, beginning this weekend, we will have We'll have a grand total of 6 weeks left in this so-called leadership race. And if those numbers keep heading downward, if this trend continues, Aaron, I can't see this going on for much longer for Monsieur Dranville.
I'm only asking, Jim, because, not sure that it matters or not. So Bernard Dranville, beyond being the politician, of course, a media guy, we've all known him. He had his own radio show for a while. I wonder, come the debates, and remember, he thought this might be his strength, right? He'd asked for 3 as opposed to 2. You think there's enough chance for him in those debates to win them and make a difference or not?
It would really have to be disastrous debates for Christine Frechette. I think, you know what, in a situation like this, if I was advising Madame Frechette, I'd just say, don't keep on going the way you're going. If these numbers hold, just keep campaigning the way you're going. Right. Don't pay Monsieur Dranville more attention than he deserves. If the press wants to talk to him, be there to react, do whatever, be visible. But right now, do not treat him like a factor. And clearly, the fact you and I, quite frankly, everybody else, are talking about these dismal numbers from Monsieur Dranville suggests quite strongly that seems to be where his campaign is headed anyway. We can't turn around and say, yeah, but, Jim, you forgot about all that magnificent stuff that he announced. He hasn't really announced that much magnificent in terms of this campaign thus far. Okay. He's probably going to farm it out. But all that said, you could be right, Aaron. He can turn around. Maybe he's going to wipe the floor with her in both those debates, and people will slap their foreheads and say, "Oh my God, what have I?" But right now, every single poll suggests otherwise. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Fair enough. And I guess, Jim, we have to hit the big story of the day today. Clearly, the fact that look at that, the word "go" in Go Habs Go is apparently going to be okay going forward. Yeah,
and this is marvelous because this is like another day in the Magic Kingdom, because in the end, the fact that it used to be Allez Canadien Allez was based on what? It was based on, I guess, an anonymous complaint to the guardians of Quebec identity and linguistic purity, the Office Québécois de la langue française, which is part of the apparatus that is being used by the Coalition Avenir Québec to make it clear that anybody whose last name is in Tremblay might perhaps be happy living someplace else. But on the same day that story comes out, and you can giggle about it and say, "Oh my gosh, what a bunch of morons!" Radio Canada is reporting, and I see nobody turning around and disputing it, that already dozens of women working in daycares who are observant Muslims, i.e. they wear a hijab, have lost their jobs, and indeed that count may go up as far as 500 before the revised version of Bill 21, before the revised version, before Monsieur Jean-François Roberge's purge of the Quebec civil servant from anybody who doesn't look or sound like him, goes full circle. And of course, the fundamental question here, never mind the right or the wrong of it, where, you have 500 people, where the hell are you going to get those 500 people? Because I have a sneaking suspicion, Quebecers who fit the bill, can we say, of what the CAQ is looking for, they won't be lining up for these jobs.
Yeah, and sure.
You and I have spent enough time talking about the pay and the work conditions and the number of strikes that daycare workers went through. I don't think there's going to be a rush for the door to pick up those 500 jobs. So I wonder how the CAQ will find a way to blame this entire situation either A, on Mark Carney, or B, on immigrants, or C, on Anglophones, which is basically all they have left in their bag of tricks between now and October.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is a gross miscalculation on their part, and it's going to go back and kick them in the backside. I don't think there's any question about that. So, yeah, interesting to see where the blame will be laid.
But it's so crazy because the absurdity, Aaron, both these stories that we're talking about, the absurdity springs from the same rotten root, which is this idea that somehow you can only protect French, you can only protect Quebec identity, you can only protect the future of Quebec francophones by screwing over somebody else or screwing over some other language or visibly erasing something. And that is a big lie. That's one of the biggest lies that's been perpetrated on the people of Quebec for the past 50 years. And I would like to think after October, maybe not right away, but I'd like to think that after October, we'll have shed this. We'll see what happens. But I think, if nothing else, maybe I'm being too optimistic, but maybe when you see numbers like this, maybe when you see stories like this, everybody who's running for office between now and October is going to dial it down a bit on the whole identity thing. Of course, I probably think I'll be dead wrong by then.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone's going to find a way to try and win votes by screwing over somebody. But I live in hope, Aaron.
Hope springs eternal, Jim, right? All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Let me just ask, the question today I have is going to relate to, we did this just after 2 o'clock. I have Eric Girard coming on just after the 5:30 news.
Yeah.
So based on what he said yesterday about, the fact that it's costing us so much money, just based on the threat or potential threat of separation, and then PSPP coming back and saying, hey, it's not us, it's you. What do you make of all that?
Oh, come on. I mean, I'm not surprised by the head of the PQ saying you're fear-mongering. What I am surprised is how much credence or how he's being allowed to get away with this. For the past 50 years, the uncertainty of Quebec separation has turned Montreal, has turned Quebec into an economic backwater. Francois Legault, of all people, a former PQ minister, is freaking out. He was obsessed with getting Quebec's economy to run at the same rate and surpass that of Ontario.
Right.
But the only reason Ontario is doing so well is that Quebec has been doing so poorly. And it's been doing poorly because of the political creed that was followed by Francois Legault and many others for so many years. That uncertainty is there. So for PSPP to turn around and say, no, you're fear-mongering, is to basically insult the intelligence of anyone who has lived in Quebec and has tried their fortunes in Quebec for the past 40 years. Excuse me very much.
James Mennie, the Montreal Gazette. Thank you, Jim.
Canadian women are looking for more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast.
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.